So it's it's Tuesday, July 24th, 2012, and I'm standing, oh my gosh, at my alma mater, Birmingham High School in Van Nuys, California. Wow, never thought I'd be standing here again. I have my cheat sheet. It's easier to admit to it than to try not to look down. I wanted to talk about my latest record, The Liberal Soul, and I'm thrilled with the record. I'm thrilled with the record. It was hard coming, but very happy with it. And I wanted to do. I thought I'd say I wanted to do an homage to all the old spirituals that influenced me so much in my coming to the Lord. But the truth is, I really just wanted to do the research and learn a bunch of songs that we don't hear anymore, or I haven't heard in a very long time. And I just really wanted to get into the songs and explore them and find my way with them and through them. And I did a lot of shows practicing, rehearsing these songs, and then I finally did The Liberal Soul at the Phoenix Fringe Festival, and that's what the videos are available of these songs. And I'm not crazy about how that show went, but I'm really happy with the record. And the first song on the record is God's Radar, and that's a Dixie Hummingbird song. And next to me, I don't think anyone has done more unusual or more creative use of music in gospel music. They've done extraordinary work. God's Radar is one of my favorites, and they really influenced me, and they really influenced Nina Hagen, who I also really love. And I love how the song has your usual chord structure, even though my version is spoken. But the song has a very common chord structure that sounds like happy-go-lucky gospel music. And then you realize, that the writer is saying, God is watching every single thing you do, so don't screw up. And I like the intensity of that. And I chose to do some of these songs spoken word because I had so many I wanted to do, and I wanted to get as many as possible into the show and into the record. And some of the songs that I did that were spoken word, if I have not recorded them before, I plan to hopefully go back and record some of them as full fleshed out songs on future records. The second song was Trampin', which I had done on Does God Sleep, and I'm madly in love with the song. Trampin'. It goes so far back in history, and it's so beautiful. And if you go online and look it up, you can hear the original, and it's extraordinary. And Patti Smith did it on a record called Trampin'. That's one of my favorite records of hers, and she did such an exquisite version. And my son wrote the second verse of Trampin' for me because it really didn't have a second verse. And I love the song, and it's simply just saying that I'm just passing through. I'm just trying to find my way, and it goes into not one mumbling word. And not one mumbling word is an interesting variation on Were You There? It's the same process of different things that happened to Christ that day, and instead of it being my reaction causing me to tremble, it's saying, Jesus took this abuse and he didn't talk back, he didn't argue, he didn't fight, he spoke not one mumbling word. And this is a song that I've already worked out as a full fleshed out song for a future record, and I'm already doing it at shows now, and it's one of my favorites. It's just causing, and if you'll forgive me saying it like this, causing stuffy white people to think about the term, not one mumbling word. When you say they crucified my Lord, they nailed him to a tree, they pierced him in his side, he laid his head and died, not one word, not one mumbling word, you know. It's like talking to a child. You know what? I want not one mumbling word to come out of your mouth. And I love it. And I discovered the song Wandering Soul, and it was made famous by George Jones. And I never really worked it out live, never really did it live, but I did it for the record. And it says, I'm tearing along in the clutches of Satan. And I love this. I just love the concept of trying to work your way through life with grace and dignity and a certain degree of speed, but instead you're just like stuck in this goo-goo muck. It's like walking through glue because Satan's just pulling you down constantly. And the sixth song on the record, I once again visited There's a Man Going Round, which I did on Does God Sleep in one form, and then I did it on Psychotic, and then I think this is the fourth time I've done it because I did it on Love Me Forever. I must really like this song. I didn't even think about it. I got to take that off the record. I do it too much. But I had to do it. I had to do it. I love the song that originally was sung like Jesus is going around taking names, and it doesn't make any sense because he took my father's name and he left my heart in pain. And I listen to it and I go, I think this song is about death. I think it's about living with the specter of death. And you know, being that I'm such a cheery, upbeat person, I really embraced that. And then the next song on the record is Mean Old World, and Mean Old World is a variation on Sometimes I Feel Like a Motherless Child. They're pretty much the same song. A lot of the old Negro spirituals were passed around so much that different versions popped up and they had different titles, but it's this is a mean old world and people don't care what they do to me in this mean old world. And Lord, I've been abused, I've been scorned since the day I was born. Needless to say, I really related to this, and I love the timeless element of the song. And I loved how it sounds like I made it up. You know, it rings so true, and yet it's been around for hundreds of years, which is, again, what led me to do this cycle of songs in the first place. I revisit Take a Bow from Real Man, and that song just never got its day in court. And never did it live back in the Real Man days. I do it live now occasionally. And Take a Bow on this record, I do it as spoken word. And it's just simply a quick mini sermon that says, no one's allowed to get in your way if you're trying to reach the kingdom of heaven. That we're not here to trip you up. We're here to guide you and love you and help you get there. And you have every right to walk into the throne room and say, I've arrived, and take your bow before God Almighty. Oh, Mary, don't you weep. I did this on the Burn in Hell record, and first time I heard it was Tennessee Ernie Ford. And it's been one of my favorite gospel songs in history. When I get to heaven, I'm going to put on my shoes. Just blew me away because I'm thinking of the slaves, and if they had shoes, you know, their shoes are just being totally demolished out in the fields, and you know, one day they're looking forward to getting to heaven and getting a bright, brand new, shiny pair of shoes. And I thought about the Jews in the concentration camps when I heard the song too, and I thought about how their shoes were all taken away from them. They were forced to live barefoot, work in the snow barefoot. I knew survivors from the camps, and they said that, you know, they lived with frostbitten feet and still got up the next day and worked in the snow. when I get to heaven, I'm gonna put on my shoes and tell all the news. And definitely one of my favorite songs. Definitely. I do San Bernardino on this record. Gosh, San Bernardino, God, that was off Zombies. And San Bernardino is one of the oldest songs of my entire repertoire. I wrote it when I first started working on song cycles that became what this ministry is. And something that really took place, a convenience store was held up and the owner was shot and killed, and there was $50 in the register, and I saw it on the news and wrote a song about it right on the spot. Right on the spot. I had a piano in the room where I was watching TV, and I walked over and I wrote this song. And I wanted it so bad to come back. I threw a couple of my songs in that I thought were relevant to the song cycle that showed how these songs influence me, but I in no means tried to compete with these tried and true songs from history. I finally recorded my song Fire, which was about complacent Christians while there's a fire in the storehouse and the poorhouse and the forest, and God's people are running away. And I've done this song for years and never really found a place for it on a record, and I finally put it on a record, and kind of interesting that this whole record is a cappella, which has been my last 3 records, and it's interesting to hear it like that because there's music that goes with it, but I think the music's still there, and the music's certainly in my head. Maybe I'll revisit it. I don't know. I've never really wanted to record it for some reason. I think it's a really strong song, but for some reason it always seems to overpower all the other songs that I've put it with, so it's always fallen off a record. Then I revisit Nuys song, which I have, which was on Not Unclean and Zombies, and it's from Psalm 40. From Psalm 40, and it's a psalm about God's faithfulness in our times of trial. Then I do the creepiest song I've ever heard. No, I'm not there yet. I was jumping ahead. It's funny. I'm looking at my list and I'm realizing that that I record records and I move on, and then somehow, some way, I separate myself from what I've done and move right on to the next thing. And I was thinking when I said the creepiest song I've ever done was When the Saints Go Marching In, and I realized that I omitted it from this record because I was going to go right back in and record. I love this. This was supposed to tell me it's safe to go to a class now. Nothing bad will happen to you in that room. When that was a lie. And then that same sound was supposed to let me know I was free to get out of that prison called classroom, and nothing bad would happen to me in the halls, but it did. It is so weird being on this campus. I'm sitting here, I can barely focus on what I'm doing. Wow. Anyways, When the Saints Go Marching In is on another record, an upcoming record, so I won't talk about the creepiest gospel song ever. Instead, it's Down by the Riverside. Down by the Riverside has so many verses written to it now, I loved recording it. I want to go back and do a full band version of it to really capitalize on these amazing lyrics of my golden crown and my fiery sword, and Wow, it's weird being here. That's all I can say. All I can say, I'm totally distracted by my environment. Wow. Glad I'm almost done. I want to get the hell out of here before the bullies come and get me. Whew. Is the earth spinning, or is it just me? I do Elvis's Run On, and Elvis wasn't the first, of course, but Elvis is most famous for doing it. Johnny Cash did it. Run on for a long time, great God Almighty gonna cut you down. Gosh, I love this song. If this is what Elvis had done for a living, Elvis would have been my favorite. It's a crafty little song. It's fast. It says a lot. Has amazing rhythms to it, and it just tells you you can run as far and fast as you want, but sooner or later, God's gonna get you. God's gonna catch up to you. He's gonna squash you like a bug. And I couldn't have written it better myself. And then I do my I don't know, it's become my song, Were You There? I've been doing this, for the better part of 10 years. At so many shows, and Were You There is the song that made me really consider Jesus when I heard Tennessee Ernie Ford's version of it back in the right around 1980. I heard it for the first time. Cried my eyes out. Didn't really understand what it meant, but I knew it meant something really heavy and beautiful, and I hope I did the song proud. And I revisit Heal These People, which came off of Not Unclean. And again, I use it as a spoken word song, and it's a prayer that we'll listen to the Lord, and we'll go out and we'll reach people for Christ, that we'll touch them and heal them for Jesus, and allow Jesus to heal them ultimately. And then I sing The Liberal Soul, which is based on Proverbs. The liberal soul shall be made fat, and he that watereth shall be watered also himself. It says if you take care of God's people, God will take care of you. And I don't think anyone knows that better than me, that I've spent my entire Christian walk in ministry, and God has always been with me. God has always taken care of me. God has always spent time with me. God has always loved me, and He's always been physical and present. And I'll remember for the rest of my life. The other day, I had to put my cat down, who was 16, and it was one of the hardest days of my life. And I remember. I say it like it was 100 years ago. I will remember forever. Preachers speak. I remember. I will remember forever that when I was holding my cat as he was being killed in my arms, that I felt the loving arms of God holding me. That as hard as I was squeezing this cat, God was squeezing me. And that is how He's always been. That's how it's always been, that He has never once, since I committed my life not only to Him, but to serve other people, He's never once not been that way. He's never not been there. He's never not been, not just a source of comfort, but an aggressive source of comfort. And it was a horrible day and an amazing day to feel the love of the Lord like that. And I closed the record with Give Me Jesus, and I did Give Me Jesus on, I don't know what record I had done it on. I think Give Me Jesus was on Leading Horses. Give Me Jesus must have been on Zombies, or I don't know. That's so funny. I'm drawing a complete blank, but I did it a while back. See, I don't ever research myself before I talk about me. It's so funny. I've met other artists, and you bring up songs. Oh my gosh, that's my favorite song, and they'll go, "Really? Who does it?" And you're like, You? Really? And it was like a song they did. But Give Me Jesus was something that I learned in the studio that Weston taught me. And we recorded it on the spot. And it's on the Zombies record. And I included it here as a tribute to Weston, but also because the lyrics are so important. You know, when I come to die, give me Jesus. You know, even down to the last breath, give me Jesus. Make sure that's the first thing you bring me in my time of need. Make sure that's the first thing you tell me when I have a question and a concern. Give me Jesus. And I wanted to close out the record with it because, you know, again, it dates back hundreds of years, and this whole record was about people who brought me Jesus, people who lived their lives and wrote these incredible soulful songs, and then I've lived my life, and I included a handful of my soulful songs to say this is what it's all about. It's all about experiencing Jesus every step of the way, having Jesus present through our problems and concerns and times of need, and writing songs and poems and plays and books and articles, or even just talking, testifying to what Jesus has done over and over and over again. Jesus Christ the same yesterday, today, and forever. Amen.